The sunflower field at the top, the idea is that we'll be doing some educational things on site. So we'll have sunflowers to be able to do that and create, you know, things for the birds and things for the squirrels and all that kind of stuff. One of the things of this project is the how we're going to build this. And we're going to be utilizing a lot of the green energy, a lot of the alternative energy, a lot of the green building structures and the green building checklists and that sort of thing. And so we're going to explore all the different options we have for alternative energy and alternative sources. So again, we'll be looking at geothermal, we'll be looking at possibly wind, we'll definitely be using some solar. So we're really, again, going back to sustainable, living off the land as best we can. There will be an owner's residence on this property. I want to come live down here. I want to be a part of the community. I want to be down here to run this facility and commit to making it happen and oversee it and make sure it's doing everything that I want it to do. Between, as you can see, there's lots of huge, vast open fields. I'm going to put in some orchards and some gardens and some grapevines and things like that. Things that we can, you know, take advantage of. The bottom picture, the next picture, is what the retreat center will look like. Although we're going to be doing a lot of green building structures, this is going to be a very nice, natural, stone-looking facility. What? I'm right here. Again, 16 private guest rooms, a commercial-grade kitchen. I won't be doing food. There won't be a restaurant or anything like that, but there'll be a kitchen. So again, any of the restaurants, any of the catering facilities that, you know, obviously people are going to have to eat when they're here, are going to be able to benefit from this. You know, using all local food, local caterers, that sort of thing. And then 10,000 square feet of meeting space. One of the cool things that we're doing is we're introducing this concept called outdoor meeting space. I don't know if any of you have heard the concept of outdoor living rooms, where you create like a secondary room outside, a patio, that sort of thing. It's the same thing. People will have the ability to have a meeting just like this, except outside. So you have the same amenities as far as lighting, as far as access to computers, and all of the things that you need to run a meeting. The bottom house, the bottom and the last picture, is the gatehouse. And that is the building that people will see when they first come on the facility. And gatehouse stands for greenhouse, administration, tools, and education. Obviously greenhouse, to grow plants and that sort of thing. Administration, that's where the business offices will be. Tools, to maintain the facility, a garage area, that sort of thing. And then education. And I ended with that picture because one of the whole crux of this project is to educate people on how to live sustainably. Whether people want to or not, they're going to be able to learn how simply it is to do it. From the time you pull onto the property, using pavers and using all different kinds of technologies, people are going to be living sustainably. So people are going to want to come, A, for that reason, knowing that it's a green building and it's very environmentally friendly, but they're also going to want to come for the education part of this. They're going to want to see it. They're going to want to touch it and feel it and see all these different things in use. To me, that's what's going to catch us up to some of the areas that, like Seattle and Portland, that have taken green building all the way to the nth degree from that standpoint. On the back, it talks a little bit about who's going to use the retreat center. As I mentioned, I did a market survey before this whole thing started. Again, with nonprofit organizations, there's a lot of green groups, a lot of like Green Energy Ohio, things like that are looking for places in Central Ohio to have meetings where there's no place now. So again, this will provide that opportunity. Educational facilities, families. I was talking about, you know, a family could have a family reunion there. With 16 guest rooms, each of the families could have a room, you know, and the kids and that sort of thing. And again, it's almost like, I don't know if any of you have ever rented a house like in North Carolina or anything like that. Very similar to that. But again, they'll have the whole place to themselves. The economic impact, and actually Evan Skirty came here, and I'm going to let him address a little bit of the economic impact, what we feel that might be. There is the list of the project team. I put together a world-class, actually a nationally known project team for this. These are people that are known in their field for what they do. A combination of people both locally, as you can see, Jay Myers from Simonson's on the team, as well as Paul Frederick from Willowdale. There's a company from Columbus, which is where the engineering firm is from, and then the architectural firm is from Cleveland. All of these people have done projects like this before. This is what they do. This is how they make a living. This is what they're known for. So it's bringing in the best of the best to create an incredible retreat center. The last piece is on here is I asked, as I assembled this team, and one of the ways that we're working this really is a true team concept. A lot of times when people build projects, they'll go to the architect and get their plans, and then they go to the engineer, and then they go to the contractor, and so you get a lot of disconnect. You don't get a lot of synergy. People aren't working together. There's a lot of finger pointing, a lot of, oh, how come you didn't do it this way, and it's the architect's fault, and that's what that is. The way that we're doing this is we're pulling everybody together. We actually had our first meeting back in March when we started talking about this, and we are working as a team. Every decision gets made as a team, so we can leverage and utilize everyone's experience. Someone can say, hey, what about this or what about that? This project will end up much better down the road because we're going to be able to utilize all those resources, everyone's experience in that room. I asked each of them before they made it onto the team why they wanted to be on this team. And it wasn't, it's good for my company. You know, I want to put my company in there. I wanted a personal commitment statement from each of them. Why they felt this project was important, why it mattered, why they were invested in it. And I included the two from both Jay and Paul. This project is actually on Facebook under Windy Retreat Center. You can become a friend. At various times I've posted everyone's why statements, and if you'd like a copy of them, I'd be more than happy to provide that for you. But they're very true. People get it, they understand it, they see the value of it. So with that, Evan, I'd like to invite you to come up and talk a little bit about the economic impact, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Can I add one thing before Evan comes up? Along with Wendy getting conservation easement, she cannot get the conservation easement until the property is hers. So what I am doing with Wendy's consent, I am putting a deed restriction on the property itself. Which it's pretty much the same thing as the conservation easement. With the conservation easement, Wendy will be allowed to get monies that are out there to help her do parts of this project. But mine, the deed restriction, is to protect the farm. And Sue, my wife, would you come up and I'd like to read this to you because it pretty well states how we feel and how the farm is going to be kept. It's my wife's signature.
Hi there. Okay, restricted covenant running with the land. The above, it says the land subject to this restriction is described as follows, and that's a description of where the property is. The above described land is subject to the following deed restrictions, which are intended to be covenants running with the land, binding upon the grantees hereof, and all successive owners until the year 2150. Any person who is a landowner in Milton Township, Ashland County, Ohio, shall have the standing to enforce these deed restrictions. And then the following are the restrictions. The property may only be used for recreational and retreat purposes. Included within the definition of recreation are conference rooms for study and education of environmental developments, as well as the more normal type of recreation, including non-motorized water sports, horseback riding, nature trails, and all kinds of similar activities which generally go within the definition of recreation. Recreation also includes agricultural uses, but does not include any hunting. Harvest of lumber is permitted only to the preservation of a healthy wooded environment. Areas may be cleared for completion of building upon only. No part of said areas may be used for any activities which constitute a nuisance to any surrounding areas, nor for the storage of trash, a dump, or similar purposes. No parcel of land may be used for any industrial purposes. And then it has all the signatures and that it's written up by our attorney.
So we're putting this deed restriction in place to protect the community because we've had some other meetings and it's been brought up, you know, what, just in case something would happen and this would fail, what would happen to the property? The property will be sustained the way it is. So, no, Evan, sorry.
Evan.
Come up there?
Yeah, please.
No, it's coming up front.